Not me.
I got to shut my office door.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk CFL podcast episode number 600. Yes, we're at the elusive 600 episode. We could have done this probably back in January, but we've just been dogging it and playing around and not really talking much about anything. But football season's coming fast, coming hard, and we're going to do some probably much more regular podcasts now that we've got our format figured out, we've got our loading figured out, we've got everything all done. So yeah, we are doing our podcast, and this is episode 600. I'm your host, Christopher Jones, and I will introduce your panel to us. Welcome, Charles Cliff. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Doing amazing.
Here in
Football
sunny
season.
Abbotsford. Geez, we're less than a month from training camp. BC Lions training camp begins on March. All training camps begin on May the 11th.
Yes, and it's like
which is
April
about
17th.
3 weeks.
So we're
3
less
weeks
than a
and a
month.
bit, maybe. So it's an exciting time.
I can see the excitement on Will's face right now.
Yep.
Speaking of, Will McDonald, how are you? Welcome to the show, sir.
You know, because I'm in the position I'm in these days, I'm trying to figure out this whole not working thing for the rest of my life. I've been working really hard on trying to find exciting things to do. And I'm sure I am going to appreciate the CFL season much more than I have in a long time.
Quite likely.
An event to look forward to because, believe it or not, I have watched all of the UFL football games, okay? So I must be a little desperate. So that's all I can say.
So give us a quick review. What's your opinion of the UFL?
It's football. Is it as good as the CFL? I don't think so.
No.
Is it as bad as people say? I don't think so. There's football teams, they have football players and they score touchdowns. I've been entertained. The things where they have weird interviews on the sidelines after a touchdown and stuff like that kind of is amusing. Yeah, I haven't really decided yet if I like it or not. I'll probably keep on watching it because the CFL hasn't started yet. So,
right. So is it okay? It's not as good a quality football as the CFL, or that it shouldn't be anyhow, because I mean we do have a better quality players in our league. I believe so. Anyhow, is it as good as the NCAA? No. Is it as good as the U Sports?
Well, I don't think I understand most of these players that are in this league are from the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Okay, so it should be as good as the NCAA, less the massive 150,000 people crowds. Okay, because they do lack crowds, that's for sure. Okay.
I mean, some of the games got 150 people.
Yeah. So it's worse than CIS football. In some cities, it is better than CFL crowd-wise, like
St. Louis.
Baltimore. They get quite a few people. But you know what? What I'm looking at is if this continues, this is its second year. And if it continues, I think some of these players will probably get better and the games will get better, just like in the CFL. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Like I said, it's football, sort of.
And if the games get better, then probably the crowds will grow.
It's not, I don't know if the crowds will grow or not, Charles.
Who knows?
It's hard to say. Have you guys seen, oh my Lord, I saw it the other day on 60 Minutes. It's called, is it duck ball?
Duck ball.
Hey, honey, what was that stuff called the other day we were watching on 60 Minutes? Can't hear me. Yeah, it's a kind of like baseball, and it's a 2-team league.
Are you talking
Oh,
about the banana
league? Have you guys seen that?
league?
Yes,
No.
They're like the Harlem Globetrotters for baseball.
right. But they're selling out 50,000 people arena
because
stadium.
it's entertainment. It's not a sport.
Well, they do play the game.
They
sort
do.
of.
But I think when you're catching an outfield fly, you have to do a backflip first or something, you know?
Well, they've got all kinds of weird shit that goes on.
Yeah, it's the Harlem Globetrotters for baseball.
If you will, yes. But it's growing and it's huge.
Yeah, it's entertaining. I wouldn't mind going to see it. I wouldn't go watch a Seattle Mariners game or Toronto Blue Jays.
I wouldn't go to a baseball game if someone offered me tickets, to be honest with you.
It's just boring as shit. But this might be entertaining.
Yeah. Anyways, so the US UFL, whatever it's called, what's it called, Charles? United Football League?
United Football League.
UFL.
Yeah. Okay. So I've watched it. I'll probably continue to watch it because it's football. But because I seem to have more time on my hands as well, I'll probably watch a lot of NCAA football this year as well. Yeah, so we'll see.
Any of the youth sports games broadcast?
No, not very often.
There's a few. I think Sportsnet will show a few during the year, and I know some of the teams will have their games on like community television, like almost like cable access or whatever. But there's not very many.
Okay.
Except the playoff games. The playoff games. Most of them are televised.
There was a couple of seasons with the Stampeders where the Dinos gave free tickets to all the home games, and I did go to all of them because I like going to live football games. It was entertaining, I guess, if you like Canadian football running. But what can I say?
Yeah. So let's get back to the CFL, the game that we all love, and we'll start off and we'll deal with this agenda. We'll see how far the show goes, and we'll call it a night wherever it is.
Okay.
111th Grey Cup generated $121.9 million in economic impact. And where was that? That was in
BC.
That was in BC. Vancouver.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was there as was Will.
I don't understand how they can guesstimate that number.
I was going to say, how do they come up with that number? Any idea?
Don't know. And I can't believe that number would be as high in Winnipeg as it is in Vancouver, simply because the hotel costs have to be cheaper in Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
Restaurants are cheaper.
I don't necessarily believe that, to be honest with you. My hotel room in downtown Vancouver was no more expensive than what I pay anywhere else.
Okay.
So
mine was expensive.
Yeah, but
yours was cheap because your wife works for them.
Yeah, but we didn't get any discounts because they didn't have discounts for that weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay,
so there was an article by 3 Down Nation on this. I really don't understand why we would read it, but anyhow, you got any comment on it, Charles?
I'm not all that surprised. There was a lot of people there. A lot of people came into town. A lot of money being spent around town. So that doesn't really surprise me.
No, I'm not doubting it. I just don't know how they came up with the number.
I don't know. Somebody wrote a number down and said, that sounds good.
I don't know how they come up with the number, but
I don't know either. But I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking maybe like the tourism department or the board of trade or something did some sort of study. I don't know.
It's just a fabrication.
To me, it's an estimate at best. I think. I don't know if it's an actual number.
I would think so. Who knows? All we know it does increase the incomes in those communities when they have the Grey Cup.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, It typically is.
There's no doubt about it.
Okay. So you're on Patty's computer still, are you, Will?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So why don't you log in on your team's account when you're on Patty's computer?
Because it's easier just go through Messenger when you put up the link.
You click the link and you're there.
I understand that, but if you had your, then it would be verified, and you'd have your Calgary Stampeders background if you wanted it.
Yeah, I'll do that next time. I hadn't to be honest with you, I hadn't thought of this podcast for a while. I've been doing some things recently, and I've been quite busy doing some things. So
Watching UFL.
no, I'm doing some other things, Christopher. For the first time in my life, I have time to actually sink my teeth into some things that I'm interested in. How does that sound? So, and I did spend a fair amount of time, and I know we're not supposed to talk about politics, watching the Four Stooges on TV tonight. So,
is this the English thing, or was that the French one from last night?
no, that was the English thing tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree with your sentiment about it. I'm really not comfortable with any of the leaders at this point in time, but
no kidding.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
So,
but yeah,
we'll move on. Let's stick with football. If we come to the end, we can start talking politics, but we won't do that now.
We don't need to do that.
No. I see it every day. Bo Levi Mitchell visualizes retiring if Hamilton Tiger Cats win the Grey Cup.
Probably a big if.
Well, right now.
Does that mean that he's playing forever?
Right now, they have just as good of a chance as anybody else.
They do. And I'm not going to mock the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Not the way that Rod Peterson did today. Did you guys see that? Rod Peterson said that if the Hamilton Tiger Cats win the Grey Cup, he will put on pantyhose and sing Jingle Bells.
Okay, now I kind of want the Ticats to win. I'm going to cheer for the Ticats this year.
Okay, now I'm cheering for the Ticats.
Me too.
I posted that on I posted that on Let's Talk CFL group, and I basically said that this isn't a visual I really didn't need, but I'm going to hold them to it if they do.
Yeah, I was going to say, screenshot that, and if the Ticats somehow do win the Grey Cup, let's hold his feet to the fire on that.
Yeah, definitely. He is going to do it. First off,
Rod.
I'm not a fashion I don't want to use the word connoisseur in that right now. But do they still make pantyhose?
I assume so.
I don't think women wear them anymore.
Yes, they do.
Sure they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. I'm so out of touch.
Yes, you are. You live in Merritt, BC. That's why.
I did not think it was still a thing.
Maybe it's not in Merritt. Who knows?
I don't know. So Bo Levi Mitchell will retire if the Hamilton Tiger Cats win the Grey Cup. Is that the end of Bo? Is Bo going to retire at the end of this season no matter what? Or is he coming back until they win a Grey Cup?
Well, if he has a good season, as good of a season as he had last year, and they have a decent team, there's a chance he can win. And if he happens to win the Grey Cup, yeah, he should retire because he's getting up there.
The odds of it happening twice are slim.
I mean, let's face it. He was shockingly good last year, and none of us thought that was going to be the case. So,
no,
it would have been money. He was not going to be that good. I'm really impressed. Got to give him kudos.
Absolutely.
He stepped up and played football last year.
Yeah, but my issue is what if he sucks this year?
Well, then he sucks.
And it's possible.
It is very possible.
Right?
It is very possible. So,
I mean, he played some good ball last year. There's no doubt about it.
He did so. There's no doubt about it. And they should, from what they've been signing and stuff like that, they should have a pretty competitive team this year. So it's not a stretch. And the other
They're in the
thing
East.
is, all he has to do is be 6 and 12.
6 and
Okay,
12 will at least be in the playoffs. Yeah,
right. So
Anything can happen in the Eastern Division.
that's true.
Absolutely.
You get to the big game, and so right now, are we calling it? It's going to be a BC Hamilton Grey Cup in Winnipeg.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too.
I would love to see BC in the Grey Cup in Winnipeg. Oh, the Bombers fans would just hate that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Can you imagine the shit Mark Wetnall will be going through? Oh man, he'd be bouncing off the fucking walls, making all those hating lion memes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, who is going to win the Grey Cup this year, William? What's your prediction? Who's going to come out of the West?
Okay, I'm going to put it out there. I think it's either going to be Winnipeg or Calgary.
Hey, Charles, what's your thoughts there?
And I'm not being a homer on either one of those teams.
No, you know what? I'm giving Calgary a lot of credit for what they've done in the offseason.
I'm just thinking about all I'm thinking about is quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Well, Edmonton doesn't have one.
Nope.
Okay. Winnipeg is getting stale.
But if he,
he's still got that potential to be.
Yeah, he can.
Top level
quarterback.
Hey,
yeah.
Trevor Harris is a hell of a quarterback in Saskatchewan. If he stays healthy,
but
you can't count the Riders out. We just know he can't stay healthy.
He's not going to stay healthy.
Right? And I know you have absolutely no faith in Nathan Rourke, but
I do.
Yeah, but Nathan Rourke, let's be realistic, guys. He hasn't done anything since 2020, whenever he was in the CFL.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, but we could go
the opposite. You think he forgot how to play football?
Well, it looked like he did last year.
Well, I'm not counting last year. He didn't have a full training camp. He comes in, and no matter what, if you come in 9 weeks in, you are always 9 weeks behind everybody else. That doesn't change.
Absolutely.
I
agree with you 100%.
And I completely expect a completely different Nathan Rourke this year. Give him the full training camp. Give him preseason, stuff like that. I think it's going to be completely different. Is it going to be good enough? I don't know. But it's going to be better. I'm 100% confident in that.
But once again, sorry, excuses are like assholes. Everybody has one. Okay.
What?
And let's see. Right now,
of course.
Right now, you can't go on Nathan Rourke's record from last year and say he's going to win the Grey Cup. If you did that,
you can't go on anybody's record from last year.
You do get consistency out of a lot of people. If that's the way Nathan Rourke plays this year, BC is going to be awful.
Yes. But I don't
expect
that. What do you mean? We got
joined the team, and 3 days later, he was the starter.
Yeah.
I understand that. Of course it's not fair, but then when you come in and you get all this,
had no other option,
and your other option is Donna Gala, they probably would have let me start.
Probably,
exactly.
If he hadn't have been there, okay. So that's all I'm saying. We shall see.
Ideally, Nathan Rourke should not have played for at the minimum 3 weeks.
I mean,
3 days.
If you listen to the idiots online, Saskatchewan is going to win the Grey Cup this year, guys, because
I don't listen to those idiots.
They've done nothing but improved in the off season, and I'm looking at this and I'm saying, where did you improve? You signed
I don't
Jake
know.
Mayer? You signed Jake Mayer. Come on. Anyways,
Valid point.
Mike Rose is a good defensive lineman. Yeah, I don't. Once again, because we could go back to a couple of weeks ago when we all decided that there's no superstars in the CFL right now that we know of. I think every team has a chance to win the Grey Cup this year.
Parity, yeah.
You know, well,
I'm not going to
don't
rule
think
anybody
so.
out.
I cannot put any favoritism to Edmonton right now.
I mean, you heard about the biggest issue this season coming up, eh? You heard who retired the other day, didn't you?
Randy Ambrosie?
No. Dominic Davis retired the other day.
Yes, I heard that. I saw that.
The league is in trouble. The league is in trouble, obviously.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't think he's played for the last couple of years, has he?
Well, no, he has played. He's done the 1 yard quarterback thing. Has he not?
Oh.
Someplace.
He's been to like 5 teams in like 7 years or something like that.
Yeah, he has.
He was with BC not that long ago. I know that for a fact.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Bo visualizes retiring. I think Zach Caleros had some comments about retiring recently. Trevor Harris has to have some comments about retiring. Maybe not. Maybe he's just like Damon Allen and too stupid to retire.
How about Jeremiah Mazzoli?
Well,
didn't he retire? Holy!
Is he second or third string right now?
Well, he's second string in BC on a knee that's been rebuilt twice.
If he can run around, he'll probably be second string in BC for sure.
I'm going to be nervous whenever that guy runs, period. Forget about getting hit. He's had his knee rebuilt, I believe, twice now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be afraid to watch him take a step.
I don't care about that. I just don't want him fumbling the ball.
That's another concern.
If you go down, hold on to the ball.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, you go back to what you were talking about Saskatchewan and saying that what did they do? They did sign Tommy Stevens. He is probably the best short yardage quarterback in the league.
No. He's a poor man's version of that guy from Winnipeg.
The wounded, the injured, not playing right now type of guy.
Chris Strevler. And why would anybody sign Chris Strevler? But Winnipeg did for a whole year. Like, really, guys?
Again.
And then he gets hurt.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Saskatchewan, terrible quarterback situation right now in this league.
Yeah, we are. I mean, if you think about it, who are the best quarterbacks in the CFL right now?
I'm gonna throw it out there because you're gonna hate it. I'd say Nathan Rourke, Vernon Adams, Chad Kelly, and Zach Caleros.
And you can make a case for Trevor Harris if he stays healthy.
Correct.
If he stays healthy, but nobody believes he will.
There's only one guy out of that bunch that's not going to retire in the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, Vernon Adams won't.
Yeah, but he's over 30, isn't he? How old is Vernon Adams, Charles?
I think he's right around
33. He's not 38.
34. Yeah, but so Trevor Harris, Zach Caleros, Bo Levi Mitchell, all those guys are going to retire within the next 2 years.
I know, and they should. Think.
And then we're going to be fucked.
Vernon Adams is 32.
See, that's not old.
No.
Now, he's good for another 5-6 years.
Yeah.
If he can stay healthy and keeps playing at a high level. So Vernon Adams isn't going away. Nathan Rourke isn't going away.
No.
And then we got Trey Ford, Davis Alexander. Who's the guy in Ottawa?
Oh,
He was with
used to be,
Winnipeg.
used to be with Winnipeg. Drew Brown.
Drew Brown, right? Drew Brown.
And they also have the runner there in Ottawa as well.
Oh,
Dustin Crum.
Dustin Crum.
Yeah, Dustin Crum.
Yeah, and then we've got Chad Kelly.
Chad who?
That fucking dum.
Right, who won the Grey Cup last year? Fuck.
He did not. He didn't even play in it.
His team did.
His team did. That doesn't mean he did.
No.
He didn't even show up for the game.
Okay. Hey, I forgot to give a big shout out to Little Willie for
we can't call him Little Willie. Not
no
when Rick calls you
about.
that.
Yes, we can.
No, we cannot.
I already have.
You can't do it. It's not not when Rick, not when your big brother calls you Little Willie. We cannot call Sparky Willie.
Yes, we can. And I've decided to call him that.
Steven Sparksman put up his little award from the University of Calgary or whatever it was, and his middle name is William. So I said we've got another Willie in the crowd. So Sparky's Little Willie, or at least Little Willie called Little Willie Willie.
Mm-hmm.
Try to say that one 3 times fast.
Because did you see my reply to him last night or not?
Well, I did.
Okay.
I don't know what it was.
It was, Little Willie, congrats. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, especially for an old blinker like you. Why the hell would you want to live in Kelowna?
You currently live in the best city in the country.
Correct.
In the world. Sorry, not the country, the world.
The world.
He lives in Calgary, and it's the best country in the world.
Best city in the world.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not buying
Anyways, but you live in Merritt, BC. I'm not going to say anything, okay?
I don't live in Merritt, BC.
They got an A&W, I hear.
I don't live in Merritt. It just happens to be the closest town to where I live.
Okay.
And yes, they have an A&W.
Good.
That's about it.
I got nothing to bitch about that.
Anyways.
And they know me very well. I don't have to order when I go in there. They know exactly what I want, and they just ring it in.
Yo, boss, he's here again.
Yep.
Are the same people at the counter all the time?
No, there's probably about 8 different ones.
Oh, okay.
But they all know me.
Okay.
Okay. So, anyhow, let's move on a little bit here from that. Where are we? What are we doing? Bo Levi Mitchell's retiring at the end of the season after they win the Grey Cup. Good for him.
I wonder if he'll come to Calgary and be a coach. Anyways.
Maybe.
Do you think he honestly wants to come to Calgary with Dave Dickinson in there?
I thought he wanted to go to TV.
Maybe. Who knows?
On the panel with TSN?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
We still haven't talked too much about the new commissioner, the ex-president CEO of TSN.
Well, we don't know too much about him, so
we don't know much about him.
Yeah,
I don't even remember his name. Was it Johnson or something?
Jesus, I don't even remember what his name was. That's how bad this is.
Like, wouldn't you have thought they'd have a huge conference and he'd be all over the news these days because the CFL is
something?
Was it Stuart
all over? Isn't the combine coming in a couple of weeks?
Stuart Johnson. No, the combine's over.
The combine's over. The draft is like Tuesday or something, isn't it?
The CFL draft is. I think the CFL draft might be before our next show, to be honest. Yeah, I know it's coming very quickly.
It's going to be after the NFL draft goes first, right?
Usually.
Usually. Because there's no point in picking high-ranking players if they've been drafted in the NFL.
CFL draft is April 29th.
There you go.
Okay, so that's 2 weeks away, 12 days. Where's the NFL draft?
The NFL draft is NFL
My
draft is a
God.
week today, April 24th. So yeah,
I
the
love
NFL
watching.
draft is
I
first.
love watching the NFL draft.
Okay. I got these things keep popping up on my screen here. Smitten Seabirds. Get off. Go away.
Actually, they do make the NFL draft entertaining somehow.
Well, no, I just find it amusing that these massive guys actually managed to fit themselves into a suit.
The
Okay.
best though is during COVID where they did a virtual draft and they
Yes.
had cameras in all their living rooms and stuff like that. And one of the top 5 NFL draftees came in a bathrobe, and it was funny.
Right. The
I
movie
don't
Draft
know.
Day. They had that one guy in his living room with his whole family.
Yep.
Lots of guys do that now, apparently.
Yeah. Well, hey, Teams.
Yeah.
Just get on Teams and make it work, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or Zoom or whatever else type of thing you're doing. Okay, the next one up, Vernon Adams Jr. acquisition. 95% of why Jalen Philpott decided to re-sign with the Calgary Stampeders. You know, I'm not going to diss him for this one, but if I was a receiver and I had the choice between Nathan Rourke and Vernon Adams, I would be in BC, especially since Philpott's dad, family grew up in BC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why this story just caught me completely off guard. Okay, I get it that he wants to play with Vernon Adams. I'd rather play with Vernon Adams than Trevor Harris or Chad Kelly or even Bo Levi Mitchell.
Or the quarterback he had last year.
Yeah, Jake Maier.
Jake Maier.
Right? And I understand that. And I understand that maybe it's not so much 95% of reason Vernon Adams is he wanted to stay in Calgary, and finally getting a quarterback to throw in the ball sealed the deal. I can accept that. But I can't believe that he stayed strictly in Calgary because of Vernon Adams. It has to be more. And we lost Charles.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Jalen Adams' first year in Calgary was not great because he was injured a lot.
Yeah.
His second year in Calgary, he was out the whole season. Last year was his third season where he did show something, and I saw more of his brother in him than I've seen, and I hope he has a breakout year this year. But I believe he's kind of fragile, so we'll see. But yeah, I could understand him signing with Calgary because hey, they got a good throwing quarterback this year. So
well, yeah, and that's what I mean. I don't think it's not because of the quarterback. It's because this is the system he knows. These are the coaches he knows. This is the town he knows. And now they finally have a quarterback. Okay, it made it worthwhile to stay.
right.
If Jake Maier stayed in Calgary, he'd have been gone.
And I would assume, I'm just going to assume that if he went to BC, there'd be a lot of pressure on him in BC.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was his dad's team. He's a local guy.
He's a BC boy, and his dad was a local guy. And I've always wondered why him and his brother came to Calgary and played their university football in Calgary, as opposed to BC. So
Dinos have got a good program. How to argue with that?
They do have a good program, but
and in BC, if you're looking at the football programs, Simon Fraser was head and shoulders above UBC.
Yeah.
And Simon Fraser doesn't exist anymore.
No, they don't. But
they weren't U Sports or CIS. They were NCAA.
Yeah, and you would think that they'd want to get NCAA experience, better training, I hear. So who knows? I'm just curious. That's all.
I was talking to Corey not that long ago about it. like their father, Corey Philpott, ex-BC Lion. I know him. We're friends. And I was saying, are the boys coming home to play in BC? What's that?
You don't have any friends.
What's the cough? I have a couple.
True story.
I count you as one.
Yeah, but we're a lot alike.
We're a lot alike. Anyhow, I was talking with Corey about it and said, what are the odds that your boys are coming to BC to play football? And he said, that's where they want to be.
Interesting.
So I really was surprised when Jalen signed in Calgary and Tyrell signed in Montreal again. It just kind of blew my mind because it wasn't like a week earlier that Corey said, yeah, they want to play in BC.
But maybe the BC didn't really give them an offer, and the offer they got from Calgary and Montreal respectively was better.
And if you think about it, Jalen probably thought to himself, because Calgary was not that good the last year, he could be a big star in Calgary. He could be the main guy in Calgary because they really don't have a great receiver other than that guy that I can't remember his name. I've got problems with names tonight, guys. Sorry.
Reggie Begelton.
Thank you, sir. Reggie Begelton. Other than that,
I always have a problem with names.
A decent Canadian guy. And maybe the other guy is saying, hey, I won a Grey Cup in Montreal. Why would I leave? Because they do have an up and coming team in Montreal.
Yep.
If you think
you look at the Lions, you also have to look at starting Canadian receivers demand money.
Yep.
Okay, we know that. And BC already has one starting Canadian receiver in Justin McInnes. And we've already proved that they are ghostly over the salary cap most of the time for the last 2 years. So maybe BC simply can't afford them.
Good point, and they also had to sign the number one receiver in the CFL this year, did they not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go.
They also have another Canadian receiver in Javon Catoy that they're paying.
Yep.
Right.
So there isn't a lot of room in the receiver core right now for starting Canadians.
No.
Not when they demand the money that they do. And I'm not saying that the Philpott boys aren't worth the money. Right. I'm just saying that there might not be money available.
And especially this year when BC is probably going to draft at least 2 Canadian receivers because that's what they usually do. That's what most teams usually do. Okay, so.
What, in the 4th round? I don't think we have a pick till then.
No.
Oh, and you get your picks taken away too. I forgot about that. Yeah, so. Yeah, they might have. Maybe they spent too much money last year and couldn't really afford to do certain things this year.
I don't know. I'm having too much fun with it right now because all you can do is laugh. It's a shitty situation. I mean, the Lions really fucked the dog on this one and screwed the pooch for sure. Let's put it that way. It is what it is.
All we know is Wally's rolling over at his grave and he's not dead yet.
No.
So,
hey, I'm just looking at the agenda to see where we go because I want to go off and play. I'm going to play off script for a little bit here.
That's fine.
I just completely forgot where I was going off script with it.
Okay.
Let's talk about Curtis Rourke for a second. Now, Curtis Rourke is said to be going to get drafted in the NFL. He is going to play backup, not third string, but backup somewhere in the NFL. This is the story that I've been told, I've heard.
Yeah, okay.
Whether that's true or not, who knows? Would you waste a draft pick on him as a general manager in the CFL?
Yeah, if he was the 6th pick.
I was gonna say not a high draft pick, but later round maybe.
Would you see BC drafting him, Charles?
Again, maybe in the later rounds. Yeah, I could see it.
I don't value draft picks a whole hell of a lot. I don't think I would wait that long.
Well, maybe not. The Lions have to. They don't have a draft pick higher that
They don't have an early draft pick. Actually, they do have a second rounder.
I thought they had to get rid of that. Well, maybe the second rounder. Maybe, you could draft him in the second round, maybe.
But no, didn't we get a second draft pick for Vernon Adams?
Yeah, I think you're right, actually, now that you mentioned that.
So we lost the draft pick, but we gained one.
Right.
So we traded with Calgary.
There's usually
that was a Don Moore's bitch and complain or squawking that basically Calgary got Vernon Adams for free because they gave up a second round draft pick and then BC lost the draft pick to Calgary.
Right.
So he said Vernon Adams was literally free.
Well, the only reason he was free is because BC couldn't afford him.
Right. Have to release him.
Yeah. So, but no, I will listen to, there's a couple of shows I listen to pre-Canadian draft, and they should be around next week. And I'll get an idea where Nathan Rourke is. We'll see what they think of him in the CFL draft. So
Curtis Rourke,
sorry.
Yes, I'm eating a cookie.
I it doesn't matter what NFL guys say. They might be thinking of picking him in the second round, or they might pick him in that 10th round. Okay.
Right.
You never know.
But if he gets picked in the NFL, do you waste a high-ranking draft pick on him? I'd say yes.
I wouldn't say yes, but
I don't value Canadian draft picks much.
Right.
Okay. So, you're going to draft somebody, they're not going to turn out anyhow. The odds of them first rounders, what is it, last 4 years? First round draft picks, there's only 3 or 4 of them that are still in the league.
Yeah, but that's normal.
It is normal. So if you're going to waste a draft pick, you might as well waste them on somebody like that. Can you imagine Curtis Rourke coming to BC? Because he's going to come in on a rookie contract. He's not going to come in and sign this big killer contract. Unless he spends a couple of years in the NFL. So he's going to come in. You can get him on a rookie contract, and then you actually have something worth trading.
The other thing with Curtis Rourke is he's coming off of a torn ACL.
Yes.
So that could give people pause potentially.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the other thing is, because of that, he was still recovering. He wasn't allowed to participate in the combine.
I am so amazed at how, and I would assume that they put so much technology into drafting guys these days, and they watch these guys constantly, and you see these guys on TV, and you check their pulse on an hourly basis, and they pick them, and they still get it wrong all the time. Right?
Yep.
So, goes back to, how did they pick Tom Brady in the 7th round? Right?
Was it 7th? I thought it was a 10th.
7th. I think there was 10 quarterbacks picked before him. And after 3 years, there was only 2 of them left in the NFL. Okay, so I can't believe that they get it wrong like that all the time. Remember, Charles knows Ryan Leaf. Remember that name, Charles?
I remember that name well.
Ryan Leaf. He was the 2nd overall pick or something like that.
He was considered can't miss.
Yeah, and he was a nightmare. And I do believe he's in jail now. So
the only thing I remember of him is him getting into a shouting match with a reporter in a dressing room.
yeah, I remember that too. So it's amazing how
That's a personality thing. That's not a talent thing.
No, but they prod and poke these guys continuously, okay? And they draft them and then it doesn't work out. So I don't know. Maybe it's more complicated than they believe. Maybe they're not smart enough. Who knows? Because it goes back to football players aren't that smart.
No, but you'd think that the management was. Okay. Jumping on down the list here. Canadian DB Tyrell Ford turned down multiple NFL offers to stay in the CFL and sign with the Edmonton Elks. I call bullshit. There's no way he turned down multiple offers in the NFL to stay in the CFL. Never mind signing with the Elks. I mean, the only reason he signed with the Elks is so he could play with his kid brother. It makes no sense. Nobody would turn down an NFL offer. Not a legitimate offer. I mean, here's $20,000, show up for training camp. That's not an offer. That's not an NFL contract. So
yeah, were they actual contract offers or were they tryout offers? Those are two different things. And I suspect the majority, if not all of them, were tryout offers, where you're not guaranteed anything.
So, according to this article, okay, he had workouts with New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and Buffalo during the 3-down league rules NFL window. Both the Saints and Colts presented him with contract offers, with the latter showing the most interest. So, I don't doubt in his ability, because what we do know, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't really watched him that much, but what we do know about his twin brother, Trey Ford is his twin, is he not?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. His twin brother is a really, really, despite not being a starting quarterback, he is a really, really good athlete.
He is.
Yes.
Okay.
Without question.
I'm assuming his brother is just the same athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're an athlete like that, you can play for a lot of teams. And he's not really a cornerback, is he? Wasn't he a safety?
All they got corner.
I think he did. No, he was a corner.
Okay. And they say the Elks contract is $230 in hard money. Well, right then and there, paying $230,000 for a fucking D-back, you're insane.
Well, it's a ratio breaking starting Canadian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
There's not a lot of cornerbacks that are Canadian in the CFL.
That's true.
I remember a lot of years with the Lions, with Wally in charge, we only had one Canadian on defense, and that was J.R. LaRose as safety.
Yep, safety.
What's his name was probably the best Canadian that we've seen for a long time. David Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, it's a tough, I mean, yeah, it's a ratio breaker. Yes, he's good at his job. Is he worth $230,000? Probably not. But I don't know.
He was to the Elks, apparently.
The Elks need help.
Yeah, they do.
I do not hold a lot of faith for that team this year, unfortunately. And they need to be good. They're for their fans. Their fans are very delusioned right now. And they need to come out and play football. And I don't see them doing it. Unless Mark Killam does something just absolutely amazing. I mean, you look at Bob Dice, who just just signed an extension. He's been in the CFL for 3 years as a head coach with Ottawa, and he still hasn't done anything with the team. And then you got Corey Mace, who's 1 year with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who I personally didn't think was going to gel quite as quickly as they did. Saskatchewan came out of the blocks and played football. So can Mark Killam do what Corey Mace did, or is he going to do what Bob Dice did?
I think he's going to be in between those two. If Edmonton is 500 this year, I'll be shocked.
I've always been skeptical. I don't know why about whether or not Mark Killam was a head coach material. Because we talked lots before about guys who are better coordinators than head coaches. I think he might end up being one of those.
Well, in reality, he has no experience in the last 20 years as far as him having a position, if you will. And I don't know when you become an assistant head coach if that changes what you do. The one game, was it 2 years ago? I think it was
Dickinson get suspended for a game?
Yeah, something like that. And Mark Killam took his place.
Yeah.
But you never know what the guy's got. Mm-hmm. And hey, and it seems that players play for him. They like him because he's attracted a lot of people just because of who he is.
Has he coached anywhere other than Calgary?
Nope.
No. And then again, there's guys that when they're coaching, they coach best within a specific system.
Yep.
And then once they get outside of it, Devon Claybrooks, it all falls apart.
Yeah, and I tend to
wonder, to say that, didn't you, Charles?
I did.
I tend to wonder if, well, I don't have to wonder about it. It's a for sure thing. Dave Dickinson had to do something so he didn't lose his job this year, and that was shake it all up. Right? So if Dave Dickinson has another bad year like he had last year, he will not be there at the end of this year.
I hope not, for Calgary's sake.
Yeah, but I'm sure that tomorrow people will sign him in an instant. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, I watched Dave Dickinson as a head coach, and he doesn't impress. I am still totally undecided about Buck Pierce.
Well, give him a chance.
I got to see the product before I can make any sort of.
That is my holdback from saying BC is the number one team in the West right now. That is my big question mark with the BC Lions. It's the coach. Not the quarterback. Yeah. It's not the receiving core. It's not the O-line. It's not the defense. It's the coach. Is he going to be better than Campbell? I sure the fuck hope so.
That wouldn't be much of a stretch. So
I was going to say that's not all that high a bar to set.
No, it's not. No, I was screaming about Campbell all of last year.
So was I.
He didn't have the killer's instincts. He didn't instill that in his team. Okay. So $230,000 for Terrell Ford to play cornerback with the Edmonton Elks is a little excessive, personally. But so be it. Edmonton needs some help. Will's talked on this. Charles, you have anything to add?
No, I mean, it says he got contract offers from, I think they said New Orleans and Indianapolis. I got to wonder how good the offers were because if they were like anyway like half decent, I can't imagine why he wouldn't sign them.
Weren't.
Hmm?
They weren't.
They
There
must
was
have
a
been
couple of
really
teams.
low offers.
Here's the quote. There was a couple of teams that offered, but none of them were offering guaranteed money or a signing bonus.
Right.
Do I want to miss out on another year? Take the chance when I can come back to the CFL. It's a good thing. It's a household name, and it's good football. It's honestly more exciting because it's 3 downs. I feel like I'm more involved here, anyways. So he did not turn down multiple NFL offers because the offers that they had were not contracts.
They gave him nothing, basically.
No, they gave him
So
nothing.
they were basically
So
tryouts, like I said.
Yes, he didn't turn anything down. He just didn't follow the dream, so to speak. So anyhow, I got into a bit of a row with their father, Bobby. We talked about that off the air before we came online, and he just said I was a hater, and went on a tangent about a whole pile of different things. And actually, I don't hate Trey Ford, and I definitely don't hate Terrell Ford. I think Terrell Ford's one of the best players in the defense in the CFL, so why would I hate him? But Trey Ford is not a starting quarterback in the CFL, and we won't be talking about him in 5 years. He won't exist. He'll be just like Michael O'Connor or Brandon Bridge or a plethora of other Canadian quarterbacks who we just don't remember because they were not that good. And the only reason why we talked about them at all is because they were Canadians. If they were Americans and playing football that bad, they wouldn't be in the league. So, as Will said, he's very athletic, and Trey Ford probably could make any one of the CFL teams as a receiver.
Yep.
And maybe he should take the route of Brad Sinopoli and do just that and make some money and have a career. Mm-hmm. But he's still holding on to this fantasy that a youth sports quarterback can make it in the CFL. And I don't see it. It ain't going to happen. Regardless, I mean, the fans that want Trey Ford to succeed in Edmonton are the same fans that want a football team in fucking Halifax. Delusional. Based on emotion.
I haven't heard the new commissioner mention that at all. Then again, I haven't heard him say much of anything, but
he might be smarter than the last one. Again, that's not setting the bar very high.
Nope.
No.
Okay, so veteran defensive back Gary Peters of the BC Lions says that BC needed some type of change. They need to mix it up. They needed to get things motivated after a failed 2024 season.
Wow, isn't he a scholar?
I honestly think that the BC Lions just fell asleep the last 2 years, and it's 100% on the coach. I don't think the team was bad. I mean, they were 9-1, weren't they, at the beginning of the season, or 7-1?
No, 7-1.
7-1. You don't get to 7-1 by being a schlup team.
Before Vernon Adams got hurt, he was on pace for a 6,000-yard passing season.
Oh, he was the runaway MVP at 7 or 8 weeks into the season. He got hurt.
MOP, Charles.
MOP. Sorry. He got hurt, and that completely derailed the team for the remainder of the year.
Well, but I also think sometimes you can peak too early.
That's also possible.
It is, but when you're on that kind of a roll, you're on that kind of a roll. You know?
But usually if you peak too early, eventually you can pull it back before the end of the year. Right? So, but there was a whole mishmash of things in there last year that screwed them up.
100%. And so Gary Peters says that the team needs to be shook up. They needed to change something. And they made drastic changes. The general manager's gone. The coach is gone. The quarterback is gone. I mean, hell.
Starting running back is gone.
Yeah.
Southern rusher, William Stanback, gone.
Yes. And that was a head scratcher for me. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? He was the number one running back in the league for most of the season until he didn't get played by the stupid coach. And that's the only way Brady Oliveira went past him. And Brady Oliveira won MOP because of it.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a toss-up between William Stanback and Bo Levi Mitchell for the MOP. All they had to do was play him. Keep the touches happening.
Yeah, I still think you need a decent running back, and I think the guy this year is a decent running back.
James Butler,
because he was 2 years ago, and he did well in Hamilton. We
were all mad that he left BC.
Yeah, you were. I remember that. You were.
And he had his best season of his career playing with Nathan Rourke.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
100%.
So and once again,
bringing him back. I just don't understand getting rid of William Stanback.
Well, maybe he wanted more money than they were willing to pay.
Yeah. Plus, James Butler is younger than William Stanback,
yes,
and maybe he thought they could get more out of him, maybe more longer term than they were going to get with William Stanback.
100%. But if you're going to pick a running back, I want some brute that's going to go up the middle. I want Brady Oliveira. I want Andrew Harris. I want William Stanback. I don't want some little scat back, James Butler, who's got to fight for every fucking yard.
If he gets the yards, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well,
I understand.
You also don't understand what, I mean, they probably talked to Buck Pierce this year about what kind of offense he wants to run and what kind of players fit into that offense that he wants to run. And maybe William Stanback wasn't one of them, but I consider William Stanback the same as Brady Oliveira.
Okay? No. And where was Buck Pierce?
Yeah.
True.
So who knows, man?
Right? I mean, Buck is used to having a pounder up the middle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one, and they let it go.
Yeah.
I'm torn on this one. I'm a BC Lions fan, no question, no doubt about it. I'm going to stand behind my team, but sometimes they make dumb fucking moves, and that, in my opinion, was one of them.
Yeah, but all teams do that, so.
Of course they do. That's why I'm a fan and not a coach. Well, there's a lot of reasons why I'm not a coach. I don't think you're allowed to verbally abuse your players.
Not allowed to hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At one time you could. Yep. Don Matthews was good at it, right? But not anymore. I don't think it's allowed anymore.
Those days are over.
Long time ago. Okay, moving along. Red Blacks Eugene Lewis. Oh my God, are we talking about this Putz again? Can't wait for the first matchup with the Elks after Ed Hervey feud.
Watch him get like 40 yards.
Fucking lame. This is dumb. Okay. First off, why would you be excited to play against the Elks? I guess Ottawa and Edmonton are kind of like on the same level, so it might be a good game.
Might be one where they can win.
I don't know. I think it's the only games that Trey Ford's won so far, isn't it? Ottawa and Hamilton?
Something like that.
So Eugene Lewis was in Edmonton last year, was he?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Paid $300,000 by Chris Jones.
Right. My question is this. If you want it to be the highest paid receiver in the league, and you believe that you are a bona fide superstar.
Yes.
What did you do last year? Why didn't you do it last year?
Well, that was my point. When was the last time he did anything? 4 years ago, he was the third best receiver in the league. 4 years ago. Last year he was what? Sixth best receiver in the league. The year before he was 16th.
Yeah.
And people say, well, he didn't have a quarterback in Edmonton. But if you're that great a player, you're supposed to make other players better.
You're not a superstar when you can't fucking be the best at your position.
No, you're not. And I mean, and he's upset at Ed Hervey because Ed Hervey says there's no superstars in the CFL. Well, you're not a superstar.
I'm here, River.
It's like, I mean, yeah.
So he's got this date circled on a calendar. If you are supposed to be the superstar of the league, shouldn't you have every fucking game circled on the calendar?
You know,
you would think so.
Maybe this is something that gets him motivated. And if that's what you need to get you motivated, great.
He shouldn't need motivation. He's a professional football player.
What's that going to do in the other 17 games?
Yeah, I'm not buying that argument, William.
No. Well, I mean, you know what? Michael Jordan said he used all kinds of things to keep him motivated. So maybe this guy needs something to motivate him more so. But I've always thought he was overrated, especially, and I'm not gonna pick on Chris Jones, especially since Chris Jones signed him for $300,000.
Yeah.
I think it was 285, but yes, it's close enough.
Close enough.
That's about 100 too much.
And it was 310 or something for Kenny Lawler the year before.
Yes, 310.
And that's another non-superstar. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And I thought it's funny because there was an article out, and it was the top three, ranking the top three Canadian or top three receivers in the league, and they were all Canadians. One of them was Justin McInnes. Who was the second one? And the third one was Terrell Philpott.
No, Tyson Philpott.
Tyson Philpott, sorry. And there was somebody in the middle.
I don't remember who the second one was.
I don't remember. And Todd Mogi, our dear friend Todd Mogi, he got all bent out of shape about this, saying, "Oh, those guys aren't fucking they're not the best receivers." And I go, "Well, who is Dalton Schoen? What's he done in the last 2 years? He didn't even play a minute last year. Not 1 minute of football last year.
He did play 20 seconds before he got hurt. So
what was the year before?
No, it was last year.
Did he play last year at all?
No,
a little bit. No, he didn't actually. No.
I don't think he played.
Yeah, he got hurt right in the beginning of the year.
That was in training camp. Looking it up real quick.
Oh.
I spelled his name wrong. They're fucking telling me to go away.
It was now. Justin McInnes, Justin Hardy from Ottawa, and Tyson
That's right,
Philpott.
Justin Hardy.
They were the top three ranked receivers.
And Hardy was good.
He's an excellent receiver.
According to 2024 stats, Dalton Schoen played 3 games.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the stats right now, and it says that he did not play any, according to Wikipedia.
I'm looking at CFL.ca. And we know that Randy Ambrosi has that dialed in, so they must be completely accurate.
Yeah, that was exactly my concern right now, brother.
That's all I'm going to say. If it's on CFL.ca, it must be true. But 2022 and 2023, Dalton Schoen had over 1,000 yards passing each year, rookie year, second year. So he is an impressive receiver. There's no doubt about it. Let's see what he does this year.
100%. And I'm not dissing the guy. All I'm saying is that what are power rankings? They're what the teams have done in the most recent era.
Yeah.
Right? It's not what they did at the beginning of the season. It's what they did in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Correct? So if you're going to rank receivers, it doesn't matter what they did 4 years ago. Matters what they did last year.
Yep.
Dalton Schoen was not impressive last year.
And he only signed a 1-year contract this season. So Winnipeg is waiting and seeing, I think.
To find out whether or not he can play football.
Right.
Yeah.
They might have wanted to sign him for a 3-year contract, but at $85,000 a year. And he signed a 1-year contract because he needs to come back and prove that he's a superstar.
Yeah.
Right.
Coming off of a blown out knee.
Yeah.
All the stuff I'm reading says he was limited to 3 games last year. So.
Okay. I'm looking at Wikipedia right now, and it does not have him playing that last season at all. So. He only played 16 games in 2023. And nothing in 2024. So, anyhow. And you know what? One of them's wrong.
Well,
I don't know.
And actually, the thing I'm reading right now, Schoen was placed on the 6-game injured list on Monday after suffering a non-contact injury. Wow. Non-contact knee injury in his team's Week 3 loss to the BC Lions. So.
Yeah, he has that. It said in 2024 he had 14 catches for 159 yards.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't matter. Wasn't impressive.
Nope.
On an impressive note, the Calgary Stampeders started replacing their field today.
I saw that.
So.
Forklifts out there taking the old turf out.
Yep. And apparently the old turf was pretty bad. So.
Yeah. Funny shit in there.
Well, this stuff it's come a long way since it used to be, because I remember the old artificial turf at McMahon. It was green indoor-outdoor carpet with cement underneath, okay?
You get rug burns. BC Place was the same.
Yeah.
100%
Everybody was the same. Everybody was the same.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what else?
So the next article here is Winnipeg running back Brady Oliveira reveals a hamstring injury, MCL sprain, limited his historic CFL MOP season.
So what is he saying?
Give me a break. Historic.
I would have been better if I didn't have that injury?
Yes. He's saying, I played hurt and I was still the MOP.
How come you weren't great in the Grey Cup, asshole? Can I ask you that? That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know. We really need somebody on here from Winnipeg to pick on. Where the fuck is Rick?
He's in Victoria.
He's gone to rugby in Victoria.
Yeah. I kind of like it when he's not on here.
Historic 1,300 yards and 3 touchdowns. How did he win MOP?
I don't know. That award was Bo Levi Mitchell's.
What a week.
And I'm not a Mitchell fan at all, but that he was robbed of that trophy.
Yeah, but you can't give a loser the trophy.
Why not?
Well, because they don't do it.
It's not a team trophy. It's an individual trophy. And as an individual, he was fucking amazing.
You don't have to argue with me, because I'm not going to argue with you. I don't disagree with you, because you know how much I love Bo Levi Mitchell.
And you know how much I hate him. And for me to say that is amazing.
Yep.
He had to play awesome.
Yeah. But it didn't
Okay.
happen.
It did not happen. So we've got one final thing here on the agenda. Saskatchewan Roughriders quarterback Trevor Harris reveals that he played with a partially torn ACL in 2024.
Don't fucking care. You didn't win the Grey Cup either, buddy.
Well, first off, who's surprised that he was injured? No,
Not
nobody.
me. He's always injured.
He's always injured. So he
Nothing
played with
new.
a partially torn ACL. Has anybody ever torn their ACL before?
I have not.
I haven't.
Okay, nor have I. But I know some people who have, and they can't walk.
Yeah.
Okay, so to go out there and play football, okay, I'm going to call bullshit.
I would be surprised if they were even allowed to clear him to play with a torn ACL.
You can't. It's your lateral. I mean, your knee won't be stable. You can't even brace that.
Normally, if you've torn it even partially, you're out for like 6 months, at least.
I don't know how they did. So does this mean he had surgery in the off season and now he's recovering? Because it
I
just
guess.
doesn't heal itself.
Sorry, did you say he had a partially torn, did he not?
Yes, that's what it says.
Oh, yeah, and I don't think you do surgery when it's partially torn.
Maybe not.
I think it goes in a cast and it's yeah.
But is that really all that smart? Because if you've got a partially torn ACL and you're playing on it, you've got a significant risk at that point that you're going to injure it further.
Yes.
Okay.
So why do that?
So I actually partially tore my ACL during the year and had a big chunk of my MCL torn. Played the rest of the season with it and took care of it this offseason with some PRP shots and whatnot. It was early on the off season that I started feeling like myself, so I'm excited to be able to head into the season fully healthy. Mm-hmm. Okay, he says that he suffered the injury in week 3.
Okay.
And he continued the entire season with a torn MCL and ACL.
I'm sorry. I have a tough time believing this.
Is it better for a guy like that? Because let's face it, Trevor Harris doesn't run.
Fair.
Okay. So, not that it matters, because yeah.
I'm skeptical.
What are you looking at, CJ? You look like you're reading something.
Deep in thought.
I've got something. Go ahead.
If the injury had taken place a few years ago, Harris believes that he would have undergone season-ending surgery to repair the ligaments in his knee. Instead, the advancements in treatment have made it possible for players to avoid undergoing a procedure after suffering partial tears. It is more or less old school thinking a few years back. Partial ACL tears, they were going to do full surgery for it. New research has shown that partial tears under 50% are healing on their own. And so we rolled the dice to see if it was going to heal on its own, and it did. It healed up pretty good. There's no way that you're going to heal an ACL by continuing to play.
That's what I would say. Sure, maybe heal. You don't need surgery, but you shouldn't be playing on it.
Like Will says, put it in a cast. Let it heal. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but
shoot it up with some steroids or something. I don't care.
Well, no. I mean, one of the big things they do these days is stem cells. Okay, and apparently, with stem cells, operations are limited. But don't forget, what week was Trevor Harris hurt where he did sit out for a while? Week 4? week 5, and he was out for 3 or 4 weeks, remember?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So maybe that gave it a chance.
Possibly.
Dude, I have a torn meniscus right now. I will guarantee you, and I know they're not the same injury at all. A meniscus is not an MCL or an ACL. But I'll tell you, if my MCL or ACL was out, it would be far worse. And I can't run right now. There's not a hope in hell.
You're 62 years old. You can't run anyways.
63.
63.
Actually, you know what? It was kind of funny. And yes, I'm talking about having a bad meniscus right now. But we had a horse at the vet yesterday. So we're waiting in the parking lot for the vet to come out to see the horse who was in the trailer. And I've got the lead rope, and I'm kind of playing around, playing rodeo with the lead rope and lassoing this and that kind of everything else. And I ended up like kind of doing a slow motion skipping motion, you know? And my wife starts laughing, right? She goes, "Oh, yeah, you can't do that." And then I went on for like 2-3 minutes of like full motion speed skipping. And she just was sat there with her mouth open. She said, I would never have thought you could have done that.
Okay, do you have video?
Please say you do.
I don't believe it.
No, but I'll do it right now. Can I find something to skip with? Can I pretend to have a rope? No. Okay. I'll send you a video, Will. I'll do a selfie video tomorrow for you.
Okay.
You okay there, Charles?
Yep.
That's a earpiece. It's not supposed to be over the eye. It's
No,
not
my
a
ear was
Jack
itchy.
Sparrow
Someone was
patch.
yelling at him and he had to hear what they were saying.
No, my ear was itchy. I had to scratch it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I want to talk about something.
Okay.
I'm going to bring this up here because I think it's time.
Are we going to regret it?
Probably.
No, and it's a subject I'm not going to let up on this year. Okay? This is my question. Why isn't Kevin Glenn in the fucking CFL Hall of Fame?
I can't answer that because I
don't have a good
you.
answer. I don't have a good answer for that. He should be.
He should have been in on a first ballot, to be honest with you.
I agree.
If not first ballot, second or third year that he was eligible. I'm curious to see who they're going to put in this year. Because he should be there.
So why don't you like do a promotion for him? Why don't you get on the bandwagon? Why don't you create a bandwagon for him? Why don't you?
Maybe I will because I have all this spare time.
Is he eligible though? Because there's also, I think there's a period of time.
2019, he retired.
So yeah, usually it's 4 or 5. Okay, so he should be eligible. So he should go into the Hall of Fame. I agree with you.
Yes, he should.
I mean, this shouldn't even be. This should be a cakewalk. This shouldn't be a lot of work for you, Will. So if you go on this mission to get Kevin Glenn into the CFL Hall of Fame and you're successful and you get him in, okay, get him nominated and get him into the CFL Hall of Fame, you know you're going to have to go after Marcus Crandall.
Well,
he'll be the next one. He won a Grey Cup.
He won a Grey Cup, Will.
So did Sean Salisbury.
I think he's in the hall already.
No, he's not.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about? You're serious about this, Kevin Glenn being in the hall? I don't disagree with you, and I don't think Charles does.
No, I agree 100%.
I mean, there are people in the Hall of Fame that, in my opinion, shouldn't be, but Kevin Glenn should, definitely.
He's in 6th place on the all-time passing yards list in the CFL. 6th place.
There are guys behind him, I believe, that are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
6th place.
Wasn't there a story here? Did I miss a story here?
No.
I don't think so.
There was one where is it Nick Dembski is going after records this year of receiving that he's going to be one of the top Canadian receivers of all times. He's still not there yet. He's going to get over 6,000 yards in receiving and da 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 da. And I go, isn't the number one Canadian receivers kind of like being the tallest midget?
He's from Winnipeg, eh? Did you know that Nick Dembski's from Winnipeg?
Yes.
And did you know that
his best years were in Saskatchewan?
Brady Oliveira is from Winnipeg.
Yes.
And what's his name was from Winnipeg too, that other running back. The guy who wasn't as good as Ron Cordish, Andrew Harris.
Andrew Harris, yes.
And they're all from the same high school.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to touch, or do we call this one a night?
I'm good.
I'm good as well.
Well, this has been Let's Talk CFL podcast episode number 600. Yes, 600 episodes. I'm kind of proud of this. We've been going at it for 10 years plus. It was 10 years in January. And Charles has been there the entire time with me. And Will, I think you came in a year or two late or something after that, but you've been around for a long time.
Yep.
And that's it, man. We're still going, and we're going to keep going, and yada, yada, yada. Season's coming up. Draft is coming up in 2 weeks, 12 days.
12 days.
And that 12 days. And then training camp starts in 21 days or something like this, 24 days.
Mm-hmm.
And we're into CFL season for 2025. We have a brand new commissioner. We have a brand new season. And there's a couple of teams out there with brand new coaches and brand new quarterbacks. And it's going to be a great season. And I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to sign off for the night, and take care. Charles, say good night.
Good night, folks. Thanks for listening. We're 1 week closer to the kickoff, so it's getting close.
William, say good night.
Good night, everybody. I think I am 55 days away from opening season in Calgary, and I cannot wait.
Awesome.
So,
okay, guys.
Lions season opener is on my birthday.
There you go.
Happy birthday, Charles.
Yeah, June 7th.
Okay, take care, guys.
Yep.